Call the Board of Education meeting Monday, April 7th. Order comments from patrons and guests.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, never done this before.
You're fine.
Okay, so it's on the consent agenda, but we have our trip to journalism to Nashville for journalism. And
Hi, just got off of work,
and
sorry.
we'll be here if you have any questions.
Perfect.
Can I have your name? Ava Morrow, sorry.
And Izzy Higgins. Izzy Higgins.
Is this on the agenda?
It is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You want to tell us just a little
Yeah.
bit about your plans while you're there?
Well, we're going to we're wanting to go to Nashville, and we're going to be going to a journalism conference. We were lucky enough to have it in Kansas City last year. Or, well, there was one in Boston, but also one in Kansas City, and we got to go to the Kansas City one. It was really fun, and we got to learn about like journalism and like design aspects of it and just like writing stuff. It was just really cool, and there was like a bunch of classes that we could go to. It was kind of like college-like, but it was really fun, and we're hoping to go this year to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Is the thing Mississippi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be, or well, we're planning on me, Ava, Harriet, Dean, Harriet Dean, Rowan Johnson, and Maddie Sage, and I think Hannah Meyer, right?
About 6 of you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, or actually, wait, no, it might just be 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's either 5 or 6,
And then
but
Mrs. Sage will be there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and we're planning on fundraising stuff, and we've already done one thing for fundraising, which was a bake sale during a basketball game a while back, and I don't really remember how much money we raised, but we're planning on raising more money if we do get to go, and yeah,
You just need our approval to go.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yes.
What would you do in your downtime while you're
Well, we would eat good food, shop, yes.
Additional shopping thing?
Yes.
the hermitage?
Yeah.
That's so fun. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Nobody's gonna end up on Broadway.
I don't know about that one, but
Hey, that's not a no.
How fun.
yes.
District would just do the transportation and take them to the airport.
We just.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I think we each have to raise about $700, $750 for like the hotel and all the other like things that.
And flight. And
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yes.
Very.
Yeah.
I sent a kid to Boston for journalism.
Mhm.
It's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Florence? My apologies. I was just shocked. Do we read this?
You don't. You don't.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
You can just.
Interpretive
Thank you.
dance.
Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
She might.
All over.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah.
I guess we'll hit it up here pretty quick.
Yep.
Thank you, girls.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I get a motion to approve. Is that right? Nobody else? We have a motion to approve the.
I motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Oh, the agenda. Never mind. I'll shut up.
Second.
All in favor?
6
6 of them. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Question.
Yes.
Can someone enlighten me when we discussed the football uniforms? I don't remember it. I could not find it.
It was in the consent. You mean the new?
Yeah, that we just bought.
Oh, that's the rotation, isn't it?
Yes, I think it was last month. Yeah.
Okay.
Every 7 years.
Well, I didn't remember anything.
Well, and
That's all.
if we wouldn't, if it was just in rotation. Good question. I was thinking the same thing. Motion to approve the consent agenda. As presented.
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? 6 of them.
Just one.
On that though, just because of rotation uniforms doesn't come up a lot. Football is the most expensive because you got one time to buy and they all match.
Mhm.
You're talking over 50 uniforms, so.
And we don't buy like the military special ones and stuff like that. This
Those
is
are-
just the standard uniform,
Home
correct?
away.
I just want to make sure the middle school boys don't get forgotten in rotation because everybody got new uniforms this year, but then. And they're rough.
Middle school.
They're yellow.
football,
Middle school basketball. They probably got 10, 15 more years to go, but they've been there since I was in school. So they're pretty bad.
I should wear the silver one.
They're the only ones that didn't get new uniforms this year. So I just want to make sure we don't forget that.
I'm not sure where they are.
Mac told me 5 years more, and I don't know what they'll make it. They're bad.
I think it appears that way because we've had so many outside groups donate and buy new uniforms for other.
And the only one
ones
that
that
didn't
aren't
get
up, like football, they're one that's
paid
up
for it this time was middle school boys. Girls did
What do you
in high
mean?
The
school.
girls' basketball is part of the rotation. We like
The girls got them in rotation. The boys, I just don't want them to get forgotten because high school got them.
Well, that was.
It was the girls, right, in the girls' rotation. So I just don't want to wait another
Well, what-
7 years for them to catch up with everyone else.
We'd probably get a
Set up.
calendar of the rotation, couldn't we?
Yeah. But it's, I don't think they can.
No, I want to make sure they don't, since everyone else just got new ones. I don't want them to go backwards to catch up with everybody else in the rotation, so.
Very good. Academic report. Whoever wants to go first.
Wes is at kindergarten roundup till like 6:37.
He'll be busy.
No, it's 7:30, but he'll be there.
Well, I will go. We are hitting the ground running with track practice. Our numbers are lower than usual. Normally we have like a ton of kids out. We don't have a lot of 8th graders. I think we have less than 20 8th graders that are out, and we have 47th graders, but that class is huge, so I mean it's barely a little drop in that class. So it'll be interesting. We'll have our first meet Thursday at Silver Lake. So we'll see how things go. But there, the pickup and drop off lane is going well. It is a pretty smooth process. There's still a few kinks to work out. But the bottom line is kids are safer. They're not running out. They're not, just darting in and out of cars, things like that. It's a process. Timing it from 3:25 when we dismiss to the last car, it's about 7 to 8 minutes. It really is pretty smooth. And again, it's for the kids, keeping them safe. State assessments, we are in the throes of that because every single student in my building tests. Yes. Last week we did 5th and 8th grade science. We got all those done. I have a couple of makeups to do, but it won't take long. And then we started ELA this week. We do a modified block to allow for our students to have longer time to read those passages. It is a new test, so we don't really know what to expect or how long it should take them. It's about 2 passages with comprehension questions that go with each one. But for our struggling readers and for even those who aren't struggling, it's a lot to ask them to, give us their best to take these tests. And so I want them to make sure they're taking their time reading, going back, looking at the questions, double checking their work. So we do give them about 75-minute hours. So we do odd hours on Monday and Wednesday. We'll do even hours Tuesday and Thursday. And then in the afternoon, we do just fun activities because we were asking them to work to give us their all. And so like 8th grade went to the elementary school and played at the park. Other kids went outside, they played card games. We're going to do some community service. 6th grade is painting lines on the 4-square court on Wednesday, and they're going to paint new basketball lines, pick up some trash, and they're going to paint just blocks, some lines for the slots in the car loading zone. And then my art department, they are going to design some like fun like pictures, floral, whatever. I don't know what they're going to do for each different lane. So just add a little something fun. So we're doing that. We are very appreciative of all the snacks that were donated. If you've walked by my office, this is a disaster. It is snack zone central in there. Like there are boxes upon boxes, but the kids love it. They really do enjoy, like they're eating, they're working, they're, enjoying their snack. I put little motivational things with all the mints and the suckers and like Smarties, like just cute little things. So it really helps them, I think, feel good about what they're doing. So I appreciate all of that. Our 8th graders are going to do their job shadowing day on April 17th. Miss Andrews has been working really hard to get everybody matched up with something they really want to do. We have kids going to a tattoo shop because that's what they want to do. And one of the moms there partnered like friends, and so they're coming in before it even opens so they can just kind of see the things, and then they're gonna watch their mom get a tattoo. And so like we're really trying to reach and get what the kids want to do. My daughter's gonna go shadow her dad in the ER and hope to
That's
see a surgery
fun.
because she really wants to be a doctor. So like we're really just reaching out trying to get those things. They'll come back and they'll have pizza, they'll write thank you notes, reflect on their experience, and then we have a track meet that day, so we'll send them to track. But it'll be exciting. A lot of them are pretty pumped about it. On that note, we do host a track meet on the 17th. So if you would like to help volunteer to work an event, reach out to Ms. Williams because we will need the help.
Very
That's
good.
it.
You had a teacher recently get an award.
We had the Kansas Teacher of the Year banquet on Sunday for Miss Heyman. I'm drawing a blank. She was the one who was nominated to represent the elementary for our district. Yeah, cool. It was a good event.
Do we need to go back and approve anything for the journalism?
It's part of
It was a-
Or is
Or-
it general, we don't have to do anything?
Yeah,
Okay,
they are
I just
approved.
wanted to, oh, you're approved. Yes. Just wanted to make sure.
long.
Yes.
Good evening. A high school update is a lot like the middle school. We're in the throes of state assessments. We finished English last week and we will start math tomorrow. The juniors are currently working on their CDM, which is the class-based assessment for writing in history, government, and social studies, and they have to do a claim, evidence, and reasoning using their documents that they're given in a topic, and it's all the same topic, and so they write from there. Following our math, then our juniors will start the science assessments. SAD has been very busy for us here at the high school. The half day before spring break, they brought in the seatbelt convincer, and we have 2 highway patrolmen that came in with that. And then we had another highway patrolman come in and talk to them just about what happens. What do you do if you get pulled over? What's the appropriate protocol? How do you go through a roundabout correctly? When you turn, what lane should you be in? Just some general traffic information with them, and it was really informative for them. And then we also had the beer goggles where they had to do some tasks in the gym to see what it's like, and kind of tying all those things together of, make smart decisions, don't drink and drive, don't be intoxicated by drugs or alcohol when you're driving, because this is how it can impair your vision, your balance, your decision making. And then we also had Nurse Abby, and she had a alum who is a nurse now. Heather used to be Kaler. I don't know her married name, but was with her, and they went over how to use an AED and use the machine on the mannequin and talked about CPR. So everybody has at least seen that, because those machines are supposed to be able to give you the instructions of how to do it, whether you're trained or not. So take a little bit of that scare of never doing it before in case it's ever needed. The other half of the school was in watching a video about making good decisions, and then they flip-flopped. And then last Friday, SAD brought in Miss Kansas to talk about domestic violence and healthy relationships. And then she also tied that into safe driving and, choosing who to be in the vehicle with if you're riding. And so they've been very, very active. And as we're talking about Mrs. Becker, who is the SAD sponsor, she was our nominee for Region 2 Teacher of the Year. Unfortunately, she didn't make a finalist, but as Dr. Watson shared, everyone there was a winner. And if you look at the caliber of teachers, I'd hate to have been on that committee to have to try to make that decision, but made you proud to be an educator in Kansas and see the fantastic people that are out there teaching our kids. Upcoming, we've got academic awards May 6th, and then the Tuesday after that, Fine Arts Night. We have AP tests starting in May, and then we'll have a Washburn signing day. So lots of things coming up. We will be working to fill positions, as you can see those 2 there. And then I wanted to recognize Mrs. Jensen. Due to her efforts, we've been listed as a 2025 All-Star High School. So you had to host a Apply Kansas event, you had to host a FAFSA completion event, and have a college signing or senior day signing, which is in the process for her. So we've met all those qualifications. So especially as a first year in a counselor's position, and I think she deserves some kudos there. Questions on it?
Two. Do we have an AED?
We do.
Okay,
It's
'cause
right
I-
outside the gym in the Commons.
Okay, because I saw that Kansas had allocated a million and a half for schools to get AED. I don't know.
And I think we're talking about trying to get one that's portable that can go on field trips.
And second question is, will you be delegating this task to assistant principals henceforth?
I don't know, maybe. Sounds like a great
Just spitballing
idea. Anything else?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
On the AED, we are purchasing. So the Education Foundation supported the purchase of one. And then there were some other things added, so we're going to purchase the portable one to be able to take on field trips and stuff, so.
That's like, I was thinking track meets, like football, we usually have somebody there, but yeah, I just thought that it'd be, take advantage of it while it's available.
That's about a point that probably should be one at the track. Permanently.
Keystone, you guys all have a handout of the monthly update, but I won't read through everything. But one thing I did want to touch on, we had our meeting and last Wednesday. They were discussing inclement weather days because they wanted to add a third paid inclement weather day for classes or for paraprofessionals specifically. And they were giving examples of what the other districts are doing, and ours was outdated since we had just voted last month to pay for inclement weather days moving forward. So I notified the rest of the board members that that's what we were going to be doing, and Oskaloosa said that they also are going to be moving that direction. So we voted unanimously to go ahead and pay classified staff or paraprofessionals for all inclement weather days moving forward. So we were a trendsetter, and that's a good trend. Yeah. Yep. And then you can see this is certified staffing that I showed you. I don't have a color printer, so sorry about that. But you can kind of see the openings, and where they're at, kind of. I'll just email this to you later, maybe. I didn't even look at it. You really can't tell, can you?
Kind of can.
So I'll just email that to you later, but they're in decent shape. They've got some openings for sure. This is the time of year where a lot of things will pop open.
You can only read those to us. And we can print.
Usually, and I used to do that, but then I would be too late sometimes, and I felt bad making you scramble.
Started a club.
Good to know.
Well, let's move on to board issues. First one up is the Kansas Education System Accreditation Act plan update.
We have a couple people here that are from the district leadership team. So while they're coming up, he's a action plan, Kansas Education System Accreditation. That's how all public schools are accredited. Our team has been working diligently the last few years. KISA is relatively new. But this is about mostly where our efforts around professional development, where we're trying to get our resources for school improvement. So we have Larry and Alan have agreed to share this update with you. And this is really just an update.
Like you said, I'm Carrie Barr. And that is Alan Dick, and we are representatives just from DLT, or the district leadership team, about KISA 2.0. It is 2.0, just a little brief history. It used to be a 5-year cycle, and you would kind of not do much. Years 1 through 3, you were planning and doing things, and then you scrambled to check boxes that you did things, and then they came in year 5, you had to say you did all these things. This year, now it is a 1 year. Every year you cycle through and you set new goals and you meet with KISA, and we'll go through what that process is. So the components of the accreditation is compliance. outcomes, and then your school improvement. So these are the three things that we have to make sure that we hit and go through in order to get accredited.
The first part, compliance, really is just the stuff that you would think of as what that old original KISA process, the accreditation process, it's the checking the boxes. These are the things that we're always doing. It's a list that the state is constantly updating. There's different people in charge of each of the things, but it would be just checking them and checking to make sure we're getting done. Maybe these are examples, but not all of them, obviously. So, let's see. The outcomes.
So currently, because this is the new, how things are gonna roll, they are setting these as we go. The goal is that these are what will be judged on, if I were to say, like the outcomes that we have to prove. So our ELA and Mass State assessment scores, they're gonna look at our high school graduation rates and then post-secondary effectiveness. So the plan is that they'll have those benchmarks or what we're hoping our growth looks like by this spring, and then will be implemented in the 26-27 school year. When our KISA representative came and talked to us, she wasn't sure if they were going to follow through on the post-secondary effectiveness. So we don't really know if we're going to be, I hate to use the word judged, but like critiqued on that aspect or not. We'll just see what they say. So hopefully that's this spring, might be this summer. Haley said she heard it might be a little bit later. It's just, they're working on it. So.
As far as how the outcomes are evaluated, it's based on the 4 fundamentals that we have. Kind of similar to the 4 goals that you set, the state has set goals for districts on how to measure the effectiveness of their improvement, based obviously structured literacy, standards alignment, balanced assessment, and then quality instruction. It's supposed to be a pretty comprehensive list. The idea is that it's not that we're picking one thing and that's the only thing that we're working on. It's that we are constantly always working on those 4 things, but we're always presenting at least one plan to the state during the accreditation process to say that we have a focused and thought out plan with outcomes and goals and measures that we can use that's on one at a time. In the district, I'm sure you've heard all of the acronyms that we're doing. We're doing something all the time with all 4 of them. Just one of them we're presenting to the state to prove that we're working on something.
So he just touched on the 4 fundamentals. This is what the model looks like. So we'll go into how we divvied it up and what we decided to go with. But like you said, we have the 4 fundamentals. So either structured literacy, standards alignment, balanced assessment, and quality instruction. So they kind of want you focused in those areas. From there, they have the structures. And this is how are you going to support hitting your fundamentals? So resource allocation, educator evaluation, professional learning, professional collaboration, and then tiered systems of support, and then just the partnerships that you set up. So they kind of structure it like you're going to focus on your one structure that you're going to really utilize as you are putting in your model. And then there's the lead indicators, just how are you supporting it? And then as we build our plan, we had to follow our measures of progress. And so what's our measure? It had to be measurable. You had to be specific, exactly what your plan is going to be. And then in 6 months, what do you want to have accomplished? And then in 1 year, what do you want to accomplish? That's kind of, and then we'll go into what ours looks like in a second.
So we started this in early January, correct? No, early January. For the step 1, the process actually goes through 6 steps each year. We started January with the first one, which was just getting the curriculum team, the DLT, and the BLTs together, going through everything, getting an idea of what the whole process looks like. Then we met with Jean Rush, which is our representative for KISA. And that's step 2. Step 3 was kind of the things that we've been doing all along, where we're meeting with BLT members, we're meeting with DLT, we're meeting with you guys now. And step 4, we're engaging with all of you guys, presenting the idea of what it is before we finally submit the plan, which we've got it all pretty well written up and ready to go. We're just waiting for that final step. So
In step 3, that school improvement day, there were 10 of us who did go to Greenbush. And we met with, there were 3 other like school districts there. So we could kind of bounce ideas off what are you guys focusing on? And we're all kind of in the same boat. It was nice to hear that we're kind of all focusing on the same thing, maybe slightly different for each district, but all have the same goals or needs that we're trying to. So the state kind of sets forth an action plan. So this is what each one needs to include. So you have to choose one fundamental that you're really going to emphasize. Like he said, it's not forget about everything else, but what are we going to focus on and aim our plan around? And then you pick 1 or 2 structures or lead indicators. You're going to really tell how you're going to use it locally. 1 or 2 measures of progress per structure. And then you have to, again, make sure you hit the why, support everything with your data and any evidence, and then make sure you know where you're going. So they always want to make sure that you're not just going to stop and move on. Like, what's the next step from this point on?
So the fundamental that we chose as not just us, but as the entire team, was to focus on our standards alignment. It paired well with the curriculum mapping that we've been doing throughout the year. We've also recognized that there's been a need. I know when we were all here a couple weeks ago for the student outcomes meeting, we talked a lot about how we see this data coming in that we're not quite where the state would want us to be, and honestly not where we really want to be, with where our general 80% of our kids being above a certain threshold. When we went back and looked through the data, it was more that it's an alignment issue, a vertical alignment issue, as well as a horizontal one in the buildings and across the buildings. So that's the one we went with. The structure that we're going to use to address that is professional learning. Like I said, we've already had a curriculum team that went and got training on how to get people into Embark so that we can begin having those conversations. If we can get the staff to put down in writing what it is that we're doing throughout the year, what does my year at a glance look like, I can go back and we can start having those conversations with each other about, well, I thought that you taught it in 6th grade. Well, no, the last time they really heard it was in 4th grade. And that, I didn't even know that wasn't a standard. It's all that kind of, those discussions that we can't have until we all know exactly what we're doing, that we're really going to focus on. So our plan is to put together just professional learning days, get the curriculum staff, the curriculum team into those conversations where they can have or help where needed. And then our lead indicator, measures of progress, that's you.
Oh, sure, yeah. So measures of progress, he kind of touched on it. So our 6-month target, we're on our way, even though we haven't hit the green button for submit, but we have established that curriculum team. That curriculum team, we were fortunate enough to go and be a part of the Empowering Leaders curriculum series at Greenbush. So we could kind of see how we can take the Embark data and hopefully build from it, and not pointing fingers at you're not doing this and you're not doing that, but how can we work together as a team? And they gave us some really great resources to use for that. We met with the admin already, and we plan to keep meeting with the administration at their admin meetings, making sure that our goals are being met and that we're all on the same page. And then developing the PD days that are designated for the curriculum alignment. And then hopefully at the end of the year, so we have until February 26th of next year, we will have 2 PD sessions that are devoted just to this. 85% of our courses are mapped out, and the curriculum team will keep meeting with that admin team and just making sure that we keep growing. And then the anticipated next actions. There is more series that we would like our curriculum team to keep going that really went into the assessment alignment and making sure that our assessments are hitting the standards, and we're really testing what we say we need to test, and we can have all of that data. So moving on with that, and then just continuing to map out our curriculums using the Embark that we've already used, and really making sure that we identify those gaps in our standards. Question.
Thank you for putting us into it.
If you guys
Nice.
have questions or anything, I mean, any of us are.
Who is the curriculum team?
So there's you and I, there's Lindsay Lakey,
Penny Fleming.
and Raven at the elementary, Haley Dean, obviously.
So each building.
Yeah.
We have
building has
okay.
two,
Oh, okay.
two representatives from every building.
Okay.
This is just some of the behind the scenes curriculum work that happens every year. And we just wanted to walk the board through it, because later this week, Haley and I will actually go in and submit this plan. And we'll wait for approval there.
He is the only one who has the power to hit the green
Yeah.
button.
Right.
We can just view.
And they write very well.
I guess the one thing that Haley did want us to make sure that you guys understood was that this isn't the state like giving us approval or disapproval of our plan. It's that when they say approval, it's that, yes, we agree that this meets what we have as our definition of what school improvement looks like. They're not saying you can't do that or you can, because we were already in this process. It's just, they want to know what we're doing, and then they're either going to agree with us or not, but that's their, what
And if
they
they-
decide, what they kind of define.
If they don't agree, it's really just, we need more information.
Okay.
And so if we submit it and it gets sent back, then it's just supported a little bit more, maybe we need a little more data. They really want to make sure it's specific. So maybe we were too vague in something. And so it's not necessarily that we did anything wrong, they just.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna say, no, it's a bad
Yeah.
idea. It's more just, okay, that fits with what we were thinking.
When do you find out the results of, or their conclusion?
Like if we get to begin.
Yeah.
Usually within 2 weeks-ish is what we've heard.
Yeah, 14 days.
And then you just
And then it
get
can go
going,
back and forth.
and then the following year, do they just check up and see?
So the following year, we will go back into this next anticipated action becomes this.
Okay.
We have our next anticipated action that she was talking about. We're gonna start with, if everything works out like we planned, we want to start talking about assessment alignment. Then we would go in and say, okay, how are we going to address assessment alignment? Are we gonna use PD? Are we gonna do evaluation? Like it really is a framework that we can follow. And then that'll come with a 6-month goal or a 12-month goal. And then we're just constantly
Right.
rolling through and reassessing whether or not that's the fundamental that we want to address, or do we want to do a different one, or because we're always working on something.
Yeah.
It just happens to be this year, our big focus has been on curriculum. Next year with letters training coming through and finishing up, it might be on structured literacy, right? It might be on something completely different. We've got so many different things we can do it on. It's just that this one was the one that kind of fit
With what
the
we're
best with
working
what
on
we're
as a
doing this
district.
year.
Mhm.
So.
Well, we hear KISA every year. It's nice to see exactly what that is.
I don't know as I've heard a lot,
I know.
I've ever seen that.
No, I don't.
This is the first year
Yeah.
they've done this.
Yeah.
Before it was a 5-year cycle, I'm sure you've heard just in meetings before.
And it
Talk
wasn't
about we're in
really-
year 2 of accreditation or year 4.
Right.
Nobody ever really kind of knew what that meant.
Yeah, we're just
As long
like,
as we
keep
were
going.
Yeah, right.
Good work.
Now we
Yeah.
plan where we know we have a track.
I'm not going to it.
Like I said, it's not that the state's telling us what to do. They
Yeah.
just want to ensure that every school district is at a certain standard of what they're doing around those 4 areas.
And they can jump in, should someone fall below, before it's been 5 years and they fell through the
Yeah.
gaps and all that, so it's kind of nice.
Thank you.
Any more questions for him?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the Jeff West preschool updates.
So we'd like to introduce our new director coordinator, Bree Williams, and she's here tonight to provide an update on where we are, everything preschool.
Yeah, so we conducted interviews for teachers last week. And we suggested a couple or proposed positions to them. They accepted, and so it's up to you guys to approve them. The playground is looking very nice. It's almost done. We were just there. The Vindicator came and did an article with Wes and I last week. So that should be running this week. We have 2 parent nights coming up on the 10th and the 15th. so that families can get some information, get some questions answered. I know that current preschool families have a lot of questions, and hopefully those 2 nights will ease their minds a little bit. And we have a lot of information to share with them about what to expect for next year, and just get a lot of community members in the door and signed up for preschool.
We have, we're looking at right now, mid-50s for numbers.
Awesome. And that's just our district kids?
That's just our district.
Wow. That's awesome.
And now that so we will have a current Keystone program blended with the 3 and 4 year old at risk, and then all the 3 and 4 year olds that will be able to pay. So it's a blend. That way if you walk into our kindergarten classroom, 1st grade classroom, they're all together. They're just less kids. You don't know if one of them qualifies for free lunch. You don't know if one of them has an IEP. That's the same model we will set up next year. Our staffing wise also depends on, we don't want to turn anyone away, but if we end up with 80 kids, we've got to staff 80 kids, so we're still kind of in that.
What's our highest number of enrollment possible that we're able to accommodate?
Capacity.
Well, with that building, we could accommodate any 3 and 4 year old. So if you look at, they're doing kindergarten roundup right now, and I was in there talking today, and I think they had maybe 67 kids already going through roundup. So if you just think, well, are there 67 4-year-olds? Are there 67? So creche normally has about 13 to 15 of the kids. So the rest are all welcome. So we could have 100 kids. Now, a lot of parents, if you're doing it at home, great. But if you're not, if you look at kindergarten and 1st grade, you're talking over 100 kids. So
Right now we have 2 that we improved. So if you get any more, you're gonna suggest we need to hire another teacher. We need to, okay,
right now we will have 3.
3 total.
That includes 3.
Okay,
And you'll have 2 tonight to consider.
okay.
We've interviewed another one. So it's just, this first year, we're having to back into an unknown number.
What's the amount of kids per teacher allowed by the state with this type of program?
It can be up to 20.
Up to 20 per teacher.
Well, with a teacher and a para.
Okay.
It's 10 per adult.
Yes.
And obviously we want to keep it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have it around 15 so.
You'll be fine with 30.
I currently teach preschool and I have 18, and that's a
lot.
solid number of
We'll be hiring also para,
Okay, good.
so to support, the goal is to have a teacher and a para in every classroom.
The goal.
And they'll be Jeff West Paris, or will they be from Keystone?
No, they're now. Great question. Keystone's preschool will be in there.
Right.
So they'll just take their teachers and paras over there with us. We will hire our own general ed teachers and paras.
Okay,
And then they will work together.
And this is actually a plus for Keystone. We were actually discussing this last week. They have indicators that they have to meet as well. Like they get reviewed every year, and they score really low on their preschool age kids because not every district has a preschool program. And so when we say least restrictive environment, if we put them in the Keystone preschool, that's not considered a least restrictive environment because it is for kids with IEPs and peer models. So that doesn't actually count. So when we open a program like this, we will now have a place to place those kids, which in turn helps Keystone service those kids. So they've got somewhere to put them. So it's beneficial for them too.
So the best example is kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade. We don't have the students with IEPs in a separate location by themselves.
Yeah.
But our current Keystone students here at the high school don't have another general ed preschool to blend in with, so we don't score well.
Yeah.
But Harry's the only one that does. Next year, we will,
Yes.
because we'll have an early.
Yeah, we were used as an example of why this is a good thing.
Awesome.
That's good.
That's
Keystone meeting.
Yeah.
And
Got compliments.
Belinda and Keystone's team have been doing, we've got another meeting coming up here with them just to coordinate the whole opening of.
Yeah, they're all on board.
I mean, no pressure, we're on you to succeed.
So
Wrong.
I have faith in it.
another thing is maybe next Friday, we did secure a storage unit. And we will be going to Washburn Rural. They've got, I don't know if you noticed on the news with their bond issue, they built a whole new preschool. So they had a lot of prior equipment in storage units out at Forbes. And so we're going to hook up trailers, and we're gonna go furniture diving.
That's
Um,
exciting.
You just had a knee replacement, so you're not.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna get you a lot to fly around on.
I am driving.
Okay.
He's bionic.
I know.
So, but anyway, that's another thing, but we've got, we are getting, bids, to fence around. So that'll be coming soon, because once they get the playground equipment all done, next thing, we'll have to fence it. And it's not as much it's just like our elementary playground. We want the community to come use it on weekends and stuff. We need a fence, because during the day, you don't want to walk out there with 16 kids and then go back in with 15. So,
That's just in the perfect world.
Yeah.
so we've got that. We'll talk about some signage that we're gonna be working on bids, but we wanted for you to be able to meet Bree. Bree lives just north of town. And she's a.
And Bree's grandpa is Santa Claus.
Yes. That's so exciting.
Know him.
He's famous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Jeff West Preschool Tiger Club. Cub. That's not.
So in line with that, we had, you'll see here, for the preschool, in a lot of districts, not all, but a lot of districts, the preschool mascot is like the Cub version or the Pup version or whatever of their district. So you will see, we had them work on what would a tiger cub look like if the board were to say, let's have a cub for the preschool. Love the mascot, but it could be somewhat scary for a 3-year-old. And what they did, if you look close, the stripes on the forehead are the same as our adult tiger. You can see the whiskers on the side, 3 whiskers on the side. You can see the eyebrows, the 3, so they tried to create a cub version of our adult.
Like how they got the Jeff West on.
Yes.
And then you notice
That's
the chest
I
hair
noticed that.
for the cub is a JW.
I like that.
2 versions, one just the head and then one, so wanted to get your, now there's a paw on the side. I'll explain that here in a minute, but just wanted to get your thoughts and ideas on a preschool cub.
And this is strictly for the early education program,
Just for
correct?
preschool.
Okay.
Now Wes has already fell in love with it.
I'm
He told
sure.
me, you know,
Early childhood
this is our
education.
preschool. This is our, which is nice, because we'll look at some things, just some ideas to not brand, but to remove the keystone and identify, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But just thoughts about the code.
I like the full body one. I mean.
I like the full body.
The JW on the
Yeah.
chest, yeah, that.
I like
it.
that one.
And it just,
He's a friendly
and
fella.
it just accomplish ass.
Mhm.
Touche.
Yeah, you
You have a
know.
lot of them.
Carpet.
If you look at this, what we're looking at, and I'm working with 3 sign companies, but we've got to share with them what we would want. And this is just an example. The top part of the picture is just the front of the building that would say Jeff West Preschool in red to provide some color. You know, a lot of our buildings right now have the old aluminum looking, you know, that doesn't, and try to give it some appearance, some color. There was the idea that the full bodied one could be like a 3-4 foot tall tub where the kids walk in, they can touch, and it's, you know.
Mhm.
And then the bottom one, there's a lot of real estate of brick on the other end where we could put a large, just the cub face. Just to get your thoughts and ideas on.
Is the Jeff West Preschool, is it backlit? Or is it
Right now, these are just
on?
colored
Gotcha.
without being backlit. I think the backlighting is,
Do all of our schools say Jefferson West, or do they say Jeff West?
Jeff West.
Everything
We
says
actually
Jeff
looked
West. Cause that's the first thing that caught my eye. I was like,
you know, I know the elementary's Jeff West. About the only time I've learned that we use Jefferson is on legal documents.
okay,
Like, maybe a letterhead
Okay.
or whatever, but I think on a normal routine.
yeah, that's just was my one
Jeff
question
West.
was if it was Jefferson.
Are you afraid you'll get confused?
No, I just know that,
Jefferson West.
Continuity.
Is it Jefferson on the
Yeah.
middle school?
but that's the old school, so,
The rock out front's Jefferson?
yeah.
So that's up to, that's where you get to have your input. Do you want Jefferson?
I like saving the money and just going Jeff West. I'm not gonna lie, I knocked a few letters off, got a few bucks in the pocket.
Can somebody make this decision?
I mean,
I'm
I went to school here, we always just said Jeff West, but I know the older generation, when the Booster Club made Jefferson West shirts, they went nuts over it. They're like, this
When
is
they-
original.
When they do the pricing, can we just get it? We could probably get 2 options. Yeah, they can do 2 options and we can go from there.
And it's really, I don't know the history enough, but we looked, the elementary says Jeff West Elementary. So at least right now, I don't think our buildings are consistent.
Right.
So moving forward, I think we would want to be consistent.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that was my
Well, I'll
thought,
tell you
but
what, I'll get,
I always just
I'll
say
get
Jeff
a
West,
quote for
but
both.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always just say Jeff West. I never say Jefferson West, but like on documentation, Jefferson West
And I
is
also
always what you
wonder,
see.
say early education. Or is that too much?
That's a lot of letters.
Well, it is a lot.
I mean,
Big wall.
So the committee looked at preschool
Yeah.
because the state calls it a preschool.
Okay.
okay,
When you get into early childhood, that's language that KDHE uses for childhood centers,
Yeah.
which you have to have a license for a childhood center. The state funded is a preschool. And we're gonna go with just a state run without having to, for example, kneecap had to have an early childhood KDHE license because it was a federally funded.
Gotcha.
So it's just kind of early, we called it early childhood. It is.
Yeah.
But the
It's the
state
same thing, but yeah.
funded as a preschool,
Okay.
so
And it flows with your ES, MS, HS, PS.
JWPS, JWES, JWMS, JWHS.
The one thing's consistent.
Actually, there's only one school that is. This one.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
Yes, I would move that the board approve the new Jefferson West Tiger Cub logo to be used for the Jeff West preschool.
Second.
All in favor? 6-0.
Awesome.
You
You
know,
can
it's
get that
here.
out for the.
Oh, gosh.
for the Sunday company.
When you
Jefferson.
The motion,
And then
Jefferson
that
West,
motion. So we're
and then
talking-
back to
Yeah, I'm still.
Keystone Leasing.
So just an update on the lease agreement. I don't have an official document
Oh,
because I had sent you a draft last Friday. Visiting with Doug and Kelly can chime in. Really, it's basically in kind, they'll have the custodian. Because their custodian doesn't have a building to go to yet. We will have the utilities, because we were gonna be paying utilities regardless. There just won't be any money exchanging. We won't charge them rent. They won't charge us at the end a capital outlay. We will have to negotiate some things. What are they going to do with kitchen equipment? Well, they don't know yet. We're not going to be cooking food over there. But it might be nice to have some burners and ovens if they don't want them, just in case Ozaki, or we want to have some event and, you know, people want to be able to make chili or whatever. So we'll have to work some of those things out. I mentioned the Ozaki Chamber is interested in the greenhouse. I visited with Bree and Wes. We probably won't be doing, you know, in preschool, you know, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff that Keystone still doesn't know because they haven't even broken ground on a facility. But when it comes to the lease agreement, it's just going to be in kind, how we're going to work as being co-tenants, sharing. They'll have someone sitting out front. Our IT is going to get together with them about phone lines for the first internet. But we're just not billing them and they're not going to bill us.
Which is probably the best possible scenario. we could hope for.
Absolutely.
Well, that's-
It helps us transition
Yeah.
and it helps them transition.
In this draft, the last paragraph, I'm not gonna read it all, but it says 76,300, whatever.
They're gonna remove it.
Yeah.
That's what we're waiting for. We discussed it at our Keystone meeting last week and Brad was actually the superintendent there, so he got to answer some of the questions too. But that's part of, we'll remove that and then they're gonna have their attorney look it over and do a final draft
That's
for
huge.
probably approval next month.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it was in there was because they were talking about, that was originally.
Yeah.
But that was 2 years ago, so that
Right.
could have been depreciated down, and but that
Yeah.
will be removed. The only other thing was Doug had in there a move out by date
Mhm.
of like June 30th of 25. And we were like, that's all dependent on when you get the keys to the new facility. If it turns out to be September.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. So I think they're gonna change the language to
Doug wanted.
3 months after.
Yeah, Doug wanted an incentive to motivate them to be out. Wanted to make sure that there was that push to make sure that they had an out by date. We're not worried about it, but they'd like to have a date on there, so.
So I think they're gonna go with something like so many months after a new facility is turned over for occupancy.
Right.
That gives them a month or two, but if they run into construction issues and change orders and ends up being July 30th, that's okay with us.
And that really depends on the time of year that it's.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, so I just wanted to update you, I think they felt good with it. They'll at their next meeting will probably finalize and we'll have
Yep.
something to share back with for you.
100 times better than the last one, right? legislative updates.
Just a couple things on that. Dawn had mentioned there was, I think, $1.5 million put in for grants for next year for AED. We are in pretty good shape. We are purchasing a mobile one. And as Wanda mentioned, we've already had some trainings, even training kids, but there'll be some attention next year on AEDs just because the legislature is putting some money towards it. So we will try to go after whatever we can to bolster our AEDs. The legislature's done. There were some bills that were actually going to cut career tech ed this year, mentor teacher this year, a lot of stuff, that stuff ended up not making it. We do know what the base state aid is going to be next year, which is somewhat based off the numbers I shared with you last time, and we'll talk about again. They put 10 million of new money into special ed for next year, which is about 80 million short of what the law says to fund it. But other than that, we kind of came out, there were some pretty negative bills. They had one bill that for board meetings, anybody could add anything at any time during a board meeting. Anybody could talk it. That didn't make it, but it was just, I mean, it just basically took all Robert's Rules of Orders or any constructive from board members to be able to run.
Well, I'd say we try it out from the House and Senate.
Yeah.
We can interject any time and
Yeah.
see how well it goes.
Yeah, so anyway, but, they are done. A little concerning because consensus revenue estimates are not out yet. They will come out, fairly shortly. I think they were meeting today. But anyway, I've had my third meeting on the school finance task force. It's just kind of been a lot of learning, but pretty soon they will start, leadership on that. We'll try to look at ways to, either cut funding in a formula or put strings tied to funding. And my feeling is it better be researched and evidence-based because you don't want to play games, experiments with kids' education. So I will start meeting more regularly now that the legislative session's over. So, but anyway, that's on call.
Very good. Before we get to student issues, Wes, I know you just jumped in. You want to do a board report real quick?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You got a big day. I get it.
No, hey, it was kindergarten roundup day. 66 of them were signed up. We saw about 61 of them. A couple of parents, I think, are choosing maybe to wait a year. Maybe a couple of them missed it. So, but we got a good chunk of them. Of the ones that were signed up, we had 100% attendance. So that's a commitment, and I like that. So that's going well. And then you got the preschool update, I'm assuming. So nice job. Thank you. Let's see. Third quarter country store went really well. Sorry, I'm just looking here. We're excited about the Topeka Zoo Butterfly Way Station. Do you know what that is? It's going to have what we might call weeds, but natural plants that feed butterflies. And as they make their migration across northern North America, they can stop off at Jeff West and have a snack and a drink and head on their way. They can head on over to Seaman. All the Seaman schools have one. It's been a big thing with Topeka Zoo to get schools involved in this. So we'll get kids out there digging in the dirt and making plans. Right there by the flagpole. So it's something Mrs. Lloyd's got involved in and is going well. Our KISA plan is wrapping up and going well. In fact, it's not quite wrapped up. It's the end of this month when it finally gets done. So we've got field trip season coming. So there's a lot going on with that. State testing is underway right now. We start this week with math, 2 more days for the elementary school, 3rd and 4th grade. So far, we are current. We've got everyone current with reading. They've been doing a great job of being in school. We only had a couple of makeups and they were back the next day and did the makeup. So as we start testing tomorrow, we don't have to make up any ELA testing. So that's always nice, to keep things moving along. And, we're getting ready to schedule next year's music program. So I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Ramsey for 5 great programs, and she sent me 5 new dates. So I guess she's coming back. So
Yeah.
that's good.
I don't know how she does it.
Hey, she just, but that's her. She's in it. She's committed. She's just, doing
Very good
what
at
she
it.
does. So
Tell her.
Kindergartners
Told her
were
she-
on point, and I was like, there's no chance I could.
flexible is what that one is. Yeah, that was good.
She did
So.
awesome.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No Matt's at, Derby volleyball. Won the first one 20-2, so.
Softball.
So,
I was like, volleyball.
confused.
We're getting a little ahead of schedule.
That's good.
they did win.
The first one.
Good.
I love it.
Student issues. Nothing, no facility. So we're down to personnel. For 15 minutes.
Aaron's on
Take a while.
it.
Can we take a little breather?
Do 20 and pick a time.
Mr. President, I move to enter executive section per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 15 minutes starting at 7:35 PM to discuss personnel issues on non-elected personnel under KOMA section, including Dr. Newenswander and administration, with the open meeting to resume in the board meeting at 7:50 PM.
Second.
All in favor? Accept.
Never get rid of that.
No.
So
Yes,
So
Mr.
good.
President.
We are doing negotiations.
I would never ask him about
Yeah.
that away.
I was glad. No matter how many times you read it, you just don't.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
So I don't do it. Yeah. Not back at you.
You're gonna make me come knock again.
Yeah, we're gonna need some more time.
Yeah.
I figured.
Do we go all the way? We don't.
You just did.
Yeah, Aaron just wants to do something.
Yeah, Aaron, Aaron with a Y. Don't throw my name out.
What did we say, 10?
And
Okay. Just this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I move to enter executive session per KSA 754319 for a period of 10 minutes at 7:51 PM to discuss personnel issues and non-elected personnel under KOMA exception, including Dr. Neuenswander and administration. With the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 8:01 PM. Second.
6:00.
I know, right? Do you want the?
You should take that presentation with you.
I know, right? I like this.
Just take it with you.
Excuse me, Mr. President, I move to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 5 minutes at 8:02 PM to discuss personnel issues and non-elected personnel under KOMA exception, including Dr. Neuenswander and administration, with an open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 8:07 PM. Okay.
Don't.
Put your snacks down.
Can I get an extra large one? Thank you. And take the tea for tonight.
I saw that and I thought, what's the distinction?
I'll sit down. Let's take a minute.
I was gonna run it there.
Yes. Did you hear that, Erin? White position and name.
Yeah.
Okay. Be a minute.
Yeah.
Take a drink of water.
I know, right? I'm like, wait, which one is it?
Stretch your fingers, here we go.
Put on the back? Yes. I know, that's executive session.
Negotiation form.
Oh, we're not there yet, though.
Very
are we?
good.
This
For us
first.
to get all the way over here and be like, nice.
Yeah, I didn't know if this went with one of these.
You need to get them a little rash.
No, it's just gonna basically push into the resignation thing.
You ready? Yes. Are we ready? Mr. President. I'd like to motion to approve the resignations of middle school girls basketball coach Taylor Spector, middle school boys basketball coach Chad Jackson, 5 through 12 vocal instructor Mitch
Xavier.
Yep.
I know.
As well as approve the contracts for part-time middle school assistant principal Alan Dick, part-time high school assistant principal Carrie Barr, driver's ed instructors Weston Meyer and Brad Marcotte, third grade teacher Angela Schneider, preschool teacher Edna Wells, preschool teacher Holly Ann Abel, activities director Cole Bottom, and maintenance assistant Corey Kelly.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Pick some.
Okay.
Good job.
That was awesome. Erin.
I only have one. Sorry, Mitch.
How much? 15, 20? 20.
Mr. President, I move to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for the period of 20 minutes at 8:10 PM to discuss employer-employee negotiations under the KOMA exception, including Dr. Neuenswander and admin, with the open meeting. Yes. Oh, with just Dr. Neuenswander, with the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 8:30 PM.
Second.
All in favor? Pick some. Do we need to?
I think she wants to vote.
I bet.
Hey, there, if you can stay as long as you want, but they're just in there talking and fine, then we're gonna come out. We don't answer it, and we got kids at home and-
I mean, can avoid.
Okay. That's okay.
See, you're
This-
quiet.
If this is the quiet place, then.
Hear you. Like nobody's arguing with me about not going. Hear you. It's like a damage.
Yeah, right, yeah, that is not bad.
I agree, we'll see. Oh, sorry, you're breaking it down. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, I haven't.
But here, there we go. Mr. President, I move to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 10 minutes at 8:31 PM to discuss employer-employee negotiations under the KOMA exception, including Dr. Neuenswander, with the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 8:41 PM.
Second.
All in favor? Pick some. Yes.
Yeah.
Just a couple things. One, we're looking at another different type of software program for when parents or people use credit to pay. Because right now, every time they swipe the card, it's like 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to, a county to renew tags, most places, if you use your card, the person using the card agrees to pay, well. So we're looking at either one that has a less, that's a little more user friendly. It could be that we come back to the board and just say, hey, what we used to get as revenue, every time we pay that 3-4%, it adds up. It's quite a bit. So
Also has the option, sorry, I'm going to tonight, I'll be in Wichita tonight, and eFund is what it's called, and they're set up at the conference, the Skyward conference, it's actually very compatible with Skyward. And they also offer, like right now we use Square, but they have a program that is integrated into the system that's kind of included, and they have their own devices, so we could completely get rid of Square. It's a cheaper option, and we can actually just use our iPads instead of all of their like Square's fancy devices and things. Kids can have a wallet, so they can just spend money off of that.
Who funds that?
And it's so much. I'll have more information after this. That's awesome.
yes, we need to let her, her and Pam are driving to Wichita after this.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, let's get out of here.
So the
Yeah,
last thing,
let's
you
get
have
out of
a
here,
copy. Bart had some family things. So these are the strategies. I'll let you look at them. These are the strategies from the last special session around student success and preparation. All 4 of them were great. At the May meeting, we'll bring all 4 goals with the strategies to the board to review again, look at, and then as soon as the board approves the strategies, then the administration, this summer, we will start working on a strategic plan. Then what do we need to do in the next 6 months? Just like the PISA plan. What's the low hanging fruit? Where do we need to be in 12 months? And so we'll start working on that. So when we're ready to start in the July, August, we'll have all 4 goals, strategies, and a plan on how we start moving all of those forward. So I just wanted you to have a copy of it. Actually got it put together today because Bart had some stuff, but anyway, just wanted to draw your attention to it. And with that,
Adjourn.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next time, if you want a 4-pack, you gotta do it.